An African court gave an order. A foreign company ignored it. So Mali enforced the law. And this is why it matters. Mali is not acting alone. This is an alliance of Sahel states, Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger, saying African law will be respected on African soil. Here's the question Africans everywhere should be asking. Why is Africa the only place where our laws are treated as optional? If this happened in Europe or North America, enforcement would be immediate. So why is Africa expected to explain itself? This is not about gold. It is about dignity, power, and sovereignty. Drop your answer in the comments. Was AES right, yes or no? If Afriscope TV helps you see Africa more clearly, support this work with a super thanks. Like this video so more Africans see it. Share it with the diaspora. Subscribe to Afriscope TV because Africa is done asking for permission.
Mali has seized 3 tons of gold from Canadian mining company Barrick Gold, which has operated in the West African country for decades. Mali previously said Barrick Gold owed the government over $500 million in unpaid taxes, but a recent statement by Mali's economy ministry placed the figure at $5.5 billion. Barrick Gold CEO Mark Bristow wrote to staff members on Sunday, January 12th, confirming that the Malian government had seized 3 tons of gold. Bristow, however, said Barrick Gold was waiting for confirmation from government that the gold had safely reached its destination. Malian officials had recently notified Barrick Gold that the state would seize gold from the company over unpaid taxes. The Associated Press reports that the seized gold is being stored at a government facility in Mali's capital, Bamako. A senior manager of Barrick Gold who spoke to the Associated Press said the gold was taken from a mine near Kai in western Mali and transported by aircraft and a truck to Bamako on Saturday, January 11th. Reuters reported on Monday that 2 Malian Air Force helicopters were used in the transportation. Kai and Bamako are hundreds of kilometers apart. The Associated Press says the seized gold is valued at approximately $180 million, while Reuters estimates the value to be $245 million. Barrick Gold has since written to the Malian government saying it would be obliged to temporarily suspend operations at 2 of its mining sites in western Mali. Barrick Gold says it has been tax compliant and that it paid $85 million to Mali in October as part of its quarterly remittances. Lulo Gunkoto Mines in western Mali is Barrick Gold's main mining complex. It is 80% owned by Barrick Gold and 20% owned by the Malian government. Barrick Gold has been in a dispute with Malian authorities since 2023 over a contract on new mining rules. The dispute has boiled over, resulting in Mali's detaining Barrick Gold's 4 senior executives in November 2024 and issuing an arrest warrant for CEO Mark Bristow in December. Mali accuses Bristow of alleged money laundering allegations he denies. In December, Mali also ordered the seizure of Barrick Company's gold reserves. Barrick Gold, which has operated in Mali for 30 years, has offered to pay $370 million to Mali to resolve the escalating dispute. In recent times, Mali, which has been under military rule since 2020, has placed foreign mining companies under pressure as the West African nation pursues more revenues. In November, the CEO of Australian company Resolute Mining and 2 employees were arrested in Bamako. They were released after the company paid $80 million to Malian authorities to resolve a tax dispute and promised to pay a further $80 million in the coming months. In 2023, Mali produced 105 tons of gold, making it the 2nd largest gold producer in Africa, behind Ghana, and 11th in the world.
Now ask yourself this honestly. If a company ignored a court order in Canada, France, or the United States, would enforcement even be debated? Would anyone call it extreme? Would headlines question state authority? Of course not. So why is Africa expected to negotiate with disobedience? This is where the story changes. Because Mali is not acting alone. Burkina Faso is tightening control over its gold sector. Niger has reclaimed authority over its uranium resources. Together, they form the Alliance of Sahel States, AES. AES is not a protest movement. It is not a slogan. It is a regional decision. African law will be enforced collectively. AES is not telling the West to leave Africa. AES is saying something far more reasonable and far more dangerous to old systems. If you operate in Africa, you obey African law. If you ignore African courts, you lose access. That is not radical. That is normal everywhere else in the world. For Africans in the diaspora, for African Americans watching this moment should feel familiar. It is the same struggle Black communities everywhere have faced, institutions that exist but are not respected. AES is doing what many thought Africa never would, drawing a clear line. This is not about gold bars. It is about dignity. It is about power. It is about whether African sovereignty is symbolic or enforced. AES has answered that question. Now I want to hear from you. Was Mali right to enforce its court order? Yes or no? Should African countries control their resources without permission? Drop your answer in the comments. If Afriscope TV helps you see Africa clearly, support this work with a super thanks. It keeps this platform independent. Like this video so more Africans see it. Share it with the diaspora. Subscribe to Afriscope TV because African law is no longer symbolic. It is being enforced.
Mali in West Africa seized 3 tons of gold from a Canadian company called Barrick because of the dispute of this company exploiting the system in Mali, which had been the case for decades. But the new Mali's government have decided to take the bull by the horn. The government sent out a letter to this Canadian company warning them that they need to pay the backlog of all the money they owe to Mali, both in taxes and in revenue. Failure to do so will result in actions against this company. But the company thought Mali was joking. The letter was sent to this company by the investigating judge called Boubacar Moussa. But the company thought Mali was joking. They thought it was like the previous government where they used bribery and corruption to ruin everything. But the new military government did not have any of that. They went in and seized a staggering 3 tons of gold. According to the senior manager of the company, he said the gold was taken from one of their mines near Kayes in the west and transported by plane and trucks to the capital. The gold in its raw form is valued, rough estimate, $270 million US. Yeah, $270 million US. Let me take you back. Let me remind you of last year. In December 2024, Mali issued an arrest warrant for Bristow in charging of, in the charge of money laundering without giving evidence, because they know this is what this guy is doing in Africa. They see their movement, but because the previous government got, they ruined everything with bribery and corruption, the new military government went in, arrested Bristow without even giving any evidence. They arrested him and threatened to seize Barrick Gold Reserve. Guess what the company did immediately? They paid $370 million US in settlement, just like that, because they know if the government comes in, they will take more than that. So can you imagine paying $370 million US just for settlement? Let me take your mind back again. In November 2024, the CEO of an Australian company called Resolute Mining and 2 of its employees were arrested in Bamako. They were arrested for charges of money laundering and failure to pay taxes and declare money or whatever. Guess what that company did? The Resolute Mining Company. They paid $160 million US to the Mali's government in settlement just to resolve the tax and the revenue dispute. $160 million US. They paid the first $80 million US, and then I think about a month later, they paid the rest of the $80 million US, making it a total of $160 million US. Can you imagine? Just like that, all of these companies are carrying out illegal businesses and mining in Africa, not just in Mali. But now the military government in Mali is making them cough all the money back up in taxes and settle all their debt. All the money they hold to Mali. The new Mali government is now demanding the money. And guess what? They are paying up. They are paying up because somebody reasonable is now in charge of the country. Please, can somebody do me a favor? Could you check? Could you check if Nigeria, Ghana, and Sierra Leone are still in the chat, please? Can somebody just check? Check and let me know in the comment section. Is Nigeria, Ghana, and Sierra Leone, are they still in the group chat? We need to talk to them. Check for me. Are they still in? If they're not in, let me know. Or have they left? Let me know in the comment section. I rest my case. Over to you. Let me know what you think in the comment section.
Disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed in this video are based on publicly available information, news sources, and independent analysis. Afriscope TV does not claim to represent any government, political party, or movement. Our goal is to amplify African voices, educate the public, and spark meaningful conversations on global and continental issues. We encourage our audience to engage critically, verify facts independently, and participate in peaceful, lawful civic discourse. This content is for informational and educational purposes only.